Colonus, from a poltergeist who appeared years ago, is upset. In September 1930, the residents of Alicarnasso Street in Colonus, and especially those who lived in an apartment building at number 26, were literally terrified, not knowing where to turn for help, to the police or to the spiritualists, as mysterious phenomena took place. This is an area of Athens in Greece. At the beginning of the month, in a blacksmith shop which was located on Lenormand Street, just 100 steps from the apartment building on Alicarnasso Street, the furniture was inexplicably moved around at night. The locals heard loud bangs all night, while the store was deserted and its only door was hermetically sealed from the inside. We're talking about, of course, demonic entities here. Now, the owner of the blacksmith shop found his tools in another place every morning, and the place was permanently disturbed. In fact, one morning he found a bayonet taken out of its sheath and nailed deep in the floor and onto the floor, which paralyzed him out of fear. Another day around noon, the young clerk was sitting at the entrance of the shop when he suddenly saw in the back of the room a dressmaker holding a pitcher in his hand. After the strange dresser walked around for a few moments, he then hurled the pitcher wildly towards the wall. The little one, of course, turned into a naughty fugitive calling for help from the neighbors. The pitcher had caused a shocking crash and had turned into 1,000 pieces, while the traces left by the violent break of the pitcher on the wall were clearly visible. But a few days later, the unexplained phenomena of the ironworks mysteriously ceased. The emotion he had caused the locals had now become considerably mitigated, but no one imagined that new supernatural events would shake that Athenian district yet again. Specifically, very close to Lenormand's long-suffering ironworks, there was an apartment building at 26 Aricarnasso Street, which was home to more than 15 families. Quite unexpectedly, this house began to be stoned in a paradoxical way. New again a topic of discussion about the neighborhood of Colonus, new emotions and dramas, while those who spoke of angry spirits and uncontrollable ghosts multiplied. The first stoning took place after 10 o'clock at night, and its target was considered accidental. However, the strong bursts of stones were prolonged, ending in succession in 3 courtyards of the apartment building. The occupants initially took this as a bad joke and addressed the police concerning this. In fact, 2 police officers were there immediately. Full of doubt, the law enforcement agencies regarding the truth and the seriousness of the complaints proceeded hesitantly to the first yard. Suddenly, a huge stone slipped through their heads and ended up rushing to their feet. More and more stones followed. Thus, the police were convinced of the danger of the situation and withdrew from the quote-unquote war zone. Now soon, the entire force of the 6th Police Department had been transferred to Alicarnasso Street to see what was going on here. The corners, the rooftops, the chimneys were occupied by police. The entire building block was guarded with draconian security measures. In vain, however, the stones were still thrown forcefully in front of the astonishing eyes of the law enforcement officers, who remained there all night, sleepless guards. No one had turned a blind eye that strange night as the stoning raged. The next night, the curiosity of the people had peaked, but also the stubbornness of the police to arrest the useless stone throwers had reached its peak. So, dressed in political clothes like laymen, instead of their uniforms, they were shot at every possible and probable point around the apartment building. In other words, they were undercover. Now, the huge stones, which were thrown from every direction, had to be thrown from a short distance because it was humanly impossible to throw such large stones from such a great distance. Various damages were recorded that night in many apartments, such as broken windows and furniture. However, a stone hit Miss Kula Piri on the head and fortunately caused her a small bruise. The locals, desperate, scared, and overwhelmed with insomnia, accused one of the occupants who believed that he had psychic properties. They thought, therefore, that the psychic should be removed immediately from his home in order to calm down. According to the police, on the other hand, the stones were thrown by someone cunning for an unknown reason. However, the extraordinary size of the stones, combined with the inability of the police to find and arrest the perpetrator, had shaken the confidence of the ordinary people in the neighborhood, who accepted, as the only acceptable version, that something supernatural was involved with all this ruthless stoning. The police investigations, however, continued unhindered, while the neighbors secured their windows and looked cautiously through the grills, and as soon as night fell, making the sign of their cross, lest they exorcise evil. Now, this news was published in the newspaper, the Nightly Ivradini, a Greek paper, on September 12th of 1930. Now, it could be that, there were poltergeists in my goddaughter's home in the UK. They found this very old building, which was very cheap, and I guess they found out why it was cheap. It was haunted, poltergeist haunting. And I asked my father confessor about this. I said, my goddaughter in the UK, they bought this house and a very cheap price, but it was on top of the hill, a very mansion-like looking house. And they've got all these poltergeist activities going on every night. And I said, why is it happening? And my father confessor said, it could have been because in the past somebody there was doing magic, black magic, white magic, and magic is magic. It's not supposed to be done. And that's attracting demonic entities. And he said, have her bring the priest over to do the prayer of the holy water and holy unction, and for her to be sinless and that not to have any fear of anything. So that's what my father confessor told me happens to these locations. That's why when we go into our home, a new home or a new business or even our car, we take it we ask the priest to do a special prayer over them with holy water. Okay, and this is something that and these entities have appeared in England. I've heard stories from other priests saying that even during the prayer of the holy water at the house to cleanse the house of such spirits, they have appeared trying to stop the priest from continuing the prayer. Of course, the priest would not stop the prayer. Anyway, I've translated this from a Greek article. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.